King Harris has been making headlines for years, and now reports claim he was attacked by a gang on the street. So the question everyone is asking is whether T.I.'s son has finally run out of luck after years of putting himself in situations that his family name could not protect him from. The video circulated across every major social media platform within hours. King Harris, the 21-year-old son of Atlanta rap legend T.I. and R&B star Tiny Harris, allegedly caught on the wrong end of a street confrontation that left the internet stunned. Reports and viral posts claimed King was targeted in a violent altercation, and for anyone who had been following King's trajectory over the past few years, the immediate reaction was not surprise. It was a grim sense of inevitability, because this is a young man who has spent the better part of his adult life broadcasting to the world that he is not the privileged celebrity child everyone assumes him to be. He has told anyone who would listen that he stands on business. He has said it to Waffle House employees. He has said it to his own father. He has said it on Instagram Live while streaming to thousands of people. And now, according to the reports flooding timelines, the streets apparently decided to test that claim. T.I.'s reaction, according to sources close to the family, was immediate and visceral. The man who built an empire off Bankhead, who survived federal prison sentences and built a multimedia brand from the ashes of his legal troubles, was now reportedly dealing with something no amount of money or fame could fix: the consequences of his son's choices catching up in real time. Insiders reported that T.I. was working the phones, reaching out to attorneys and anyone with influence to figure out what happened and what could be done. But to understand how King Harris ended up here, in the crosshairs, on the concrete, with the internet watching, you have to rewind the tape. You have to go back to the beginning. Not just the beginning of the incidents, but the beginning of the identity crisis that has defined his entire public life. Because King Harris did not stumble into danger overnight. He walked toward it deliberately, loudly, and on camera, every single step of the way. King was born in 2004. That year, his father had already released the platinum-selling album Trap Music and had formed Grand Hustle Records. By the time King was learning to walk, T.I. was one of the biggest rappers on the planet. The family lived in gated communities. They had security. They had wealth that most people in Bankhead would never see. King was a regular on the family's VH1 reality show T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, a show that documented the Harris family's daily life in sprawling mansions, luxury vehicles, and a world cushioned by celebrity. He grew up in front of cameras, surrounded by entourages, sheltered from the very streets his father made his name on. And that is the root of every single thing that has happened since. Because at some point, King Harris decided that the life he had been given was not the life he wanted to represent. He did not want to be the kid from the gated community. He did not want to be T.I.'s sheltered son. He wanted to be from the streets, and he wanted everyone to know it. The problem is that wanting to be from the streets and actually being from the streets are two radically different things. And the gap between those two realities is where all of King's trouble lies. The first time the public got a real glimpse of this tension was in May of 2022. When King Harris was 17 years old, he walked into a Waffle House in Atlanta and got into a heated confrontation with employees, all over pickles. Not a drug deal gone wrong. Not a territory dispute. Pickles. His order had been made incorrectly, and instead of handling it like a reasonable person, King turned on his Instagram Live and told his followers he was about to go in and Jay down. He walked into the restaurant and went on a profanity-laced tirade, screaming at employees, cursing at the cashier, and escalating the situation, to the point where a worker invited him to take it outside, and King, broadcasting all of this live to his audience, jumped up and said he was ready. But it did not stop there. He walked outside but continued to taunt the employee, threatening to pistol whip him. He told the worker to wait until he came back late at night. Then he did something that revealed exactly who he was underneath the tough guy persona. He pulled out a stack of cash and told the employee, "Everything you make, I can pull out my pocket right now." In one single moment, King Harris had managed to combine a street threat with a trust fund flex. He was simultaneously claiming to be hard and proving that his definition of hard was rooted in his father's bank account. The internet noticed. The backlash was ferocious. Social media users flooded the comments demanding T.I. step in. People wrote things like, "T.I. need to come get his son, and I know his parents raised him better than that." Others were more blunt, calling King a super privileged trust fund baby who was acting like he was from the streets and warning that at this rate, it won't end well. T.I. responded, and his response told you everything you needed to know about the dynamic between father and son. He went on Instagram Live and addressed the situation, but not in the way most people expected. He said he and King's uncles had spoken to him, and that they were perplexed by his necessity to go back and forth with the short-order cook. He said he did not understand why King felt the need to engage someone who's at another level of life. T.I. encouraged his son to avoid public conflicts and just enjoy his life. Many fans took issue with that response, feeling that T.I. was deflecting rather than disciplining. Some accused him of blaming everyone else for making it an issue instead of reprimanding his son. But the Waffle House incident was only the appetizer. The main course was coming, and it would be served in front of 60,000 football fans at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. On November 26, 2023, the Harris family attended the Atlanta Falcons divisional matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Both King and Tiny had shared posts to their Instagram stories from the field, documenting what appeared to be a normal family outing. King was posting from the sidelines. Tiny was in the suite enjoying the game. T.I. was there with the family. Everything looked fine on the surface, but beneath the surface, the same tension that had been simmering for years was about to boil over in spectacular fashion. What started as a playful back and forth between T.I. and King quickly spiraled into a physical altercation inside their suite. T.I. began questioning King about his claims of growing up hard. The Bankhead rep asked his son point blank, "King, have you ever woke up with a roach on your face?" When King could not answer in the affirmative, T.I. drove the point home. "All right then, you don't know what you're talking about." It was a devastating and public dismantling of the very identity King had been building in front of the whole world. His own father, the man whose street credibility is certified and documented, was telling him on camera that he was performing a role he had never earned, and King did not take it well. During an Instagram Live, King, then 19, was seen getting into a shouting match, repeatedly saying, "You cappin', I know you though." The tension escalated rapidly. An unknown person was seen shoving King, who then screamed, "What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business. Why would you let someone play with me like that?" Those words, "I stand on business," had become King's mantra, his catchphrase, the thing he repeated every time anyone questioned his authenticity. But in that moment, in a luxury suite at a professional football game, surrounded by family and security, the words rang hollow in a way that even King seemed to feel. T.I. responded with a line that would echo across the internet for weeks. "You are embarrassing yourself and your family." And then the situation crossed from verbal into physical. T.I. secured King in a headlock and told him, "Boy, you can't do nothing with me. Ain't shit you can do with me," as multiple people in the background pleaded for King to stop before the camera cut off. A father had just physically restrained his adult son in a suite at a professional football game because the son was spiraling over being called out for not being as street as he claimed. Tiny then chimed in, telling King that he did in fact have a silver spoon. King pushed back, claiming he spent time at his grandmother's house and got into fights as a child. "I don't want to be in these gates. I want to be outside in the neighborhood," he said. He even offered to take the family to a drug house in his neighborhood as proof that he was connected to that world. He asked, "Do y'all want to go to the bando in my neighborhood?" before accusing his father of lying to maintain his public image. After the incident, King took to Instagram with a series of quickly deleted stories. "I stand on business, don't give a F co who or ID gaff who you are, meth can't play with me nen my face not going for da immigrona man now," he wrote. He also posted something far more revealing. "If Ema mistake, say dat stop making da world think UFW me when you don't." That single line cut through all the bravado and exposed something underneath. A young man who was not just fighting with his father about street credibility, but about whether he was loved and accepted at all. T.I. addressed the situation days later. He shared a post on Instagram writing, "FCK, what dis internet talking bout? Da etch family tied like a knot. We all we got, for life." He also pointed to a Goat Talk episode he and King had filmed together at ComplexCon, where the dynamic between them appeared warm and playful. At that event, King had said he could see himself playing his father in a biopic, joking that they say I act just like him. And T.I. had responded with genuine fatherly pride. "I think he can do anything he puts his mind to. He just has to get over his own limitations of himself." That sentiment, the idea that King's biggest obstacle is himself, would prove to be prophetic in the months and years that followed, because King did not slow down after the Falcons game incident. If anything, he accelerated. The legal troubles that had been building quietly in the background started to catch up with him in ways that were impossible to ignore. In October of 2024, King was arrested after nearly colliding with a police cruiser while leaving a gas station in his BMW. The officers pulled him over and immediately smelled marijuana coming from the vehicle. They noticed a firearm on his hip. When they ran his records, they discovered something that painted a clear picture of a young man who had been dodging accountability for years. King had an outstanding warrant stemming from a 2022 case involving speeding, driving with a suspended license, and a DUI. The warrant was issued after King failed to appear in court. He had simply never showed up. The officer's body camera recorded the arrest in full. The officer stated Mr. Harris was cooperative, and I removed the firearm from his hip with no issue. I then had Mr. Harris step out of the vehicle, and I detained him by placing handcuffs on him. Upon searching the vehicle, officers found small baggies of marijuana. King was transported to DeKalb County Jail, where he was booked and photographed, his Playboy bunny neck tattoo visible in his mugshot. He was later transferred to Pickens County after a recall was ordered for the bench warrant. The timing of the arrest was particularly striking. Just weeks later, in November, King and the mother of his child, who goes by Big Nana, welcomed a baby boy into the world. King announced the birth on Instagram, writing "No 5809 AM, welcome King Jr. time to take over." He also released a track called "Dear Son" dedicated to the baby. Here was a young man who had just been booked into county jail with a gun on his hip and a warrant over his head, now welcoming a child into the world and declaring that it was time to take over. The disconnect between his reality and his narrative was growing wider by the day. Meanwhile, his relationship with his father continued its turbulent trajectory. By September of 2024, another viral moment surfaced, this time involving not just T.I., but another legendary rapper. A video showed T.I. and Boosie Badazz confronting King Harris and Boosie's son Tootie Raw on a music video set. The young men were filming a video surrounded by extras and firearms when their fathers intervened. Boosie kicked things off by questioning, "Why y'all always got to have guns?" suggesting they make music about something else. King initially defended the choice, arguing it was not illegal. But both fathers pressed the point, arguing that even if it was legal, it promoted a lifestyle that could get their sons killed. King later took to social media to clarify, stating, "Y'all ain't ever seen me post a gun ever in life. I don't even own a gun," which was an interesting claim considering that just months earlier, officers had removed a firearm from his hip during a traffic stop. And then came 2026, and with it, the T.I. versus 50 Cent saga that would drag King Harris into the deepest waters he had ever waded into. The much-publicized beef between T.I. and 50 Cent took over social media timelines in February 2026. While the origins of their feud stretched back years to a failed Versus battle, things escalated once 50 posted an old video of T.I. online, followed by memes dissing the entire Harris family. And King, true to his nature, did not sit on the sideline. T.I. and his sons Domani and King released a slew of diss tracks aimed at 50. But it was King's contribution that crossed a line that even his own father could not stomach. After 50 Cent posted an unflattering photo of Tiny, King posted a fiery rant aimed at the rapper, repeatedly referencing 50 Cent's deceased mother. The tirade was vicious, deeply personal, and designed to hit as hard as possible. He invoked the death of 50's mother in the most graphic and disrespectful terms imaginable. T.I. later said in an interview that he drew the line when he saw King wearing a shirt with 50's deceased mother on it. "I said that's enough when I seen that t-shirt." The Atlanta rapper said, even in the middle of a heated public feud, T.I. recognized that his son had taken things too far. But T.I. also revealed something else in that interview, a complicated mixture of disappointment and pride. He said he gained zero enjoyment out of his sons jumping into the beef, but he also admitted that he was proud that his sons had defended their mother. "The one thing that I am proud of this is that the women and children in our families see that it's a line of men that's here against who the FK ever," he said. And then he added something chilling, given everything that would follow. "I'm here to defend. I'm here to protect what's ours. I die in the streets about this sheer. Die in the streets." T.I. said it as a figure of speech, as a measure of his commitment to his family. But for King, a young man who has spent years trying to prove that he belongs in those same streets. Those words carry a different weight entirely, because T.I. earned the right to say that. He survived those streets. He came up in Bankhead when Bankhead was one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Atlanta. He caught cases, served time, lost friends, and came out the other side with a career and a family and a legacy. King has done none of those things. He grew up behind gates. He had security at school events. He was on a VH1 reality show. And yet he is the one who keeps running toward the very danger his father spent a lifetime trying to escape. And that brings us to the moment that set off this entire firestorm. The reports that King was attacked on the street by a gang. Now here is where the story gets complicated, because this is where fact and fiction start to blur, in the way they always do when a celebrity's child becomes the subject of viral content. In September of 2025, shocking claims began circulating on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, suggesting that King was hospitalized after a violent incident. Some posts said he was attacked in jail. Others said it happened on the street. Some claimed he underwent emergency brain surgery. Others said masked individuals tampered with his life support. After he was admitted to Grady Memorial Hospital, the stories got more extreme with every new post. Coma claims, last words going viral, desperate pleas from T.I. for his son's release. But here is the critical detail that most people scrolling through their feeds never stop to verify. There are no credible reports confirming that King spent time in jail after the October 2024 arrest. And there are no credible reports showing he is currently incarcerated at the time of these rumors. The wave of content claiming King was jumped, beaten, hospitalized, and near death was generated almost entirely by unverified social media accounts. Many of the posts came from profiles with no legitimate reporting background, using collages of photos and AI voiceovers, but citing no valid sources. TikTok account after TikTok account posted these wild stories with dramatic AI narration, but none of them led back to a single confirmed report from a hospital, a police department, or a family representative. And yet the stories kept spreading. That is the nature of the internet in 2026. A young man with enough real-life controversy to make any wild claim seem plausible becomes the perfect subject for manufactured content. King Harris has been arrested on camera. He has been in a physical altercation with his own father at a football game. He has threatened Waffle House workers. He has publicly disrespected 50 Cent's deceased mother. Every single one of those real events becomes fuel for the fabricated ones. When someone sees a headline claiming King Harris was jumped by a gang on the street, they do not think, that sounds fake. They think that sounds inevitable. And that is exactly what the creators of this content are counting on. But the lack of credible sourcing does not mean King Harris is out of danger. The opposite is true. Every real incident in his life, every Waffle House confrontation, every Instagram live tirade, every arrest, every public feud, has moved him closer to a world that does not care about his last name or his father's discography. As one social media commenter warned after the Waffle House incident, T.I. better get him before they humble him. Another said, his parents have failed miserably, and at this rate, it won't end well because these things never end well. T.I. himself has acknowledged in his own way that his son is walking a dangerous line. He has described his parenting philosophy as raising his children to be men of respect, logical, reasonable, and not to be emotional. But King has been anything but logical and reasonable. He has been emotional, impulsive, and performative in ways that put targets on his back. The struggle meal incident from November 2025, where T.I. confronted King for serving what he called a struggle meal at his grandson's birthday party at the family home, showed that the identity crisis is still very much alive. King was still performing poverty inside a mansion, still clinging to a narrative that everyone around him, including his own parents, has told him is not real. So what is the truth about King Harris getting smacked by a gang on the street? The truth is nuanced and unsatisfying in the way that the truth usually is. The viral claims that launched 1,000 videos and 100,000 comments are, as of now, unverified. No credible news outlet has confirmed the specific incident described in the viral posts. No hospital records have surfaced. No police reports have been filed that match the descriptions circulating online. The content appears to be part of a growing trend of AI-generated celebrity rumor mills that exploit real controversies to generate clicks and views. But the larger truth, the one that makes this story matter regardless of whether this specific incident is real, is that King Harris has been building toward a moment like this for years. Every confrontation, every arrest, every viral tirade, every time he screamed, "I stand on business," into a camera, he was writing a story that has only one logical ending. And the fact that the internet can generate a fake version of that ending and have millions of people believe it without question tells you everything about where the real story is headed. King Harris may not have been smacked by a gang on the street this time, but the trajectory he is on, the choices he keeps making, the world he keeps trying to enter, the protection he keeps rejecting, suggest that the only question is not if, but when. His father's worst nightmare becomes reality. T.I. said it himself during the 50 Cent beef. He would die in the streets to protect his family. The question now is whether his son will give him that chance, or whether King will keep running toward the fire until not even Clifford Joseph Harris Jr. can pull him out of it.